is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Time. I am your host, Jacob Cutler, the Fantasy Guy, and today I have episode number 18 for you. Yes, it is the Tuesday episode, so you know what that means. It is the fantasy episode. So today we are going to be talking about the current MVP leaders, right? We're in week 5, we're moving on to week 6, and let's talk about the leaders. Let's talk about the early current MVP leaders. We'll talk about that. I got 5 for you, and then we are bringing back, of course, start them, sit them, and get rid of them, because I hope you guys have been following along, because the last 2 weeks, your boy has been Yes, your boy has been on fire. So you are definitely going to want to tune in. You are definitely going to want to see who I have for the stardom, who I have for the sit-em, and then who you just need to get rid of, right? Get rid of them, get them off your team, the people who are hurting you, who aren't doing anything for you. So we are definitely going to get into that. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is the injury report, right? My favorite segment, just because it's bringing you guys the most news. It's letting you guys know how to adjust your lineup to see, oh, if this guy's going to be out week to week, is this going to be out for the season, or is this going to be out day to day, right? So I love bringing you guys the injury report. We will definitely cover that. But if you guys like what you see, please smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and then just tap on that bell notification. That way, anytime a new video drops, and they drop every Tuesday and Friday, you're right there. You're right there to consume the content, because that's what I'm doing. I'm always dropping the knowledge, right? So I'm dropping it. You just got to pick it up, shove it in your head, shake it around, and boom, better fantasy player, better football knowledgeable human being, because that's what I'm aiming here to do, right? Make you a better fantasy player and just make you more knowledgeable about football. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? So if you like what you see, please just smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and just tap on that bell notification. That way, anytime a new episode drops, you are updated. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, the first thing that we're going to be talking about is the current MVP leaders, and I got 5 for you guys. So we're going to break it down in a quick new segment called Current MVP Leaders. Alrighty, so let's get into this. So I got 5 current MVP leaders, the 5 guys that have stand out the most this season, who have put on just absolutely brilliant, masterful performances so far, and pretty much the guys that I think everyone kind of knows who's kind of in the MVP race. But you know what? Let's talk about them. Let's give them some moments of shine. And leading us off, and always in the conversation, it seems like, is the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. Tom is having an absolute fantastic season. The perfect season came to an end in LA. That's okay. It still doesn't mean that he can't capture another MVP season on his way out the door. And if he keeps playing, right, the way that he keeps playing, he very well may, right? 400 yards last week, 5 touchdowns last week, the first time he's ever done that in his career. So Tom is going off, right? By the numbers that you guys can see to my right, I guess that, yep, to my right here, he is going off this season. He is having a fantastic start to the season. So Tom Brady is your number 5 MVP candidate currently. Your number 4 MVP candidate is my favorite running back and the best running back, the guy who's been the best running back for the last 4 or 5 years, right, is Derrick Henry, the king, right? The king may just come to reclaim his crown this season. I don't think we've had a running back win MVP since Adrian Peterson. I think it's been that long, right? I don't think we've had a running back win that long. So if Derrick Henry continues the way he's going, you know, there are some other guys that we're going to talk about who are number 3, 2, and 1, obviously. But if Derrick Henry keeps it going, right? Three games now of over 150 yards. This guy is unstoppable. This guy is the best back in the NFL. If you're going to start a team, honestly, I would pick Derrick Henry really over anyone, because the running game is where it starts. The quarterback is the most important, but you need a running back, right? So you start with the quarterback, and then, you know, 1A can be the quarterback, 1B can be Derrick Henry. So I hope you guys can see by the stats right now, he does have about 140 yard lead for the leading rusher. So it's a significant gap in terms of rushing yards, right? And he's going to keep going this week. They're not on a bye week. So Derrick Henry is your number 4 MVP candidate right now. Your number 3 MVP candidate, and the man who is absolutely balling and prove me wrong, is Justin Herbie, the love bug Herbert. Justin Herbert is on fire right now. Holy crap. This dude is for real. This dude is for real and then some. If you're a Chargers fan, how can you not be excited by what you're seeing? This kid is incredible. He took the buzzsaw defense that was the Cleveland defense. He took everything that they had, every shot that they could possibly give him. And guess what? Who came out on top? The Chargers. Justin Herbert leading his team down the field for the game-winning touchdown. Justin Herbert is incredible to watch. It's something else. You know, people are trying to compare him like he's the next Peyton Manning, he's the next Drew Brees, he's the next Tom Brady. No one's the next Tom Brady. But that's exactly my point. He might just be the next Justin Herbert. He might be in a class of his own. From what we're seeing from this kid, he's proven everybody wrong. He's proving everybody wrong, which is very nice to see. So Justin Herbert is your number 3 MVP candidate. Your number 2, and the man that has his team rolling like no other, is Josh Allen. Josh Allen has the Buffalo Bills rolling right now. He thrashed the Kansas City Chiefs. Not even beat them. They thrashed them. They destroyed them. They remembered that playoff loss, right? They remember that loss last season, which caused them to have the game in Kansas City. They remembered that, and they wanted revenge, right? They weren't going to lose this game. They want to make sure that the playoff game is in Buffalo if they have the same records this time. And I don't know if that was last season. It may have been 2 seasons ago in 2019. But nonetheless, they wanted to get their revenge. Josh Allen. And like I said the week prior, right? That game against Pittsburgh, total fluke. 100% a fluke. 150% a fluke. This is the Buffalo Bills team that I was excited to see this season. I think this is the Buffalo Bills team that everybody was excited to see this season. Josh Allen has taken his game to another level, and it's nothing but exciting. It is nothing but exciting, and you can't be happy. You can't be happier for a team like the Buffalo Bills, who have had such heartbreak in their just utter heartbreak in their history. You have to be happy. Josh Allen, your number 2 MVP candidate, and your number 1 MVP candidate, and I think everybody knows who it is. It's Baby Yoda. Yes, it is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is your number 1 MVP candidate, and it's simply because he's taken that next step, I think, even surpassing what everybody thought he could do, right? And I think that proves it in the Los Angeles Rams game, when everybody thought, oh, this is where the Cardinals falter, right? This is where we're gonna see that normal Cardinals team that we're used to seeing, right? And they're just gonna flutter and just kind of just slowly move into 3rd place. This ain't that team. This is not that team. Kyler Murray has the Arizona Cardinals just humming, right? It wasn't the prettiest win against San Francisco. It wasn't the prettiest win. He still got the dub. He still got it done. When it mattered most, he came up and he showed up and he got the job done. Kyler Murray is playing out of his mind right now. Out of his mind, right? He's taken that 3rd-year leap that I think a lot of people wanted to see, right? So Kyler Murray is on fire. He has the Cardinals. The Cardinals, you know, they're going to have a tough matchup this week. This is another test. The nice thing about the Cardinals is we're going to know how good they are by the time they get to the playoffs because of all these tests that they've had to go through the season, right? They have their own division that they have to get through, and then they have all these other divisions that they're playing, right? They're playing the AFC North. They're playing the NFC North as well. So they got all these tough teams that they're going to have to play. So he's going to have to prove it week in and week out that he has matured to a level that we wanted to see him. So Kyler Murray is your number 1 MVP candidate, and it's exciting to see. We'll check back in around week 10, week 11, week 12. We'll do another current leaders around then. But for right now, that is your top 5 current MVP leaders. Alrighty, I hope you guys enjoyed that current list of MVP leaders I got for you. I will also have 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on one of the Google Sheets. So if you access the Google Sheets, you can see the rest of that list. But that is going to be my top 5. The next thing that we're going to talk about, and it's actually quickly becoming one of my favorite segments just because, again, your boy is on fire. Your boy is on fire with these picks right now. So we're going to get into it in another installment or another segment of Stardom, Sit 'em, or Get Rid of 'em. Alrighty, recapping last week real fast. I gotta show you guys, right? The proof is in the pudding, right? As they say. So I gotta show you guys, right? So some of the highlights from last week, and we're just gonna talk about the stardoms. Yeah, you guys can check out the sit-ems and the get-rid-ofs and everything like that. But I'll tell you guys how we did on those as well. But just for the stardom, some highlights last week, right? Trevor Lawerence going off. We had Jalen Hurts going off. Then we had James Robinson getting back on track, and he is definitely a stardom now. So if you have James Robinson, definitely needs to be in your starting lineup. The Jacksonville Jaguars finally have found a running game, which is nice to see. Cordarrelle Patterson, who looks like he's going to be a staple in the stardoms right now. If you have Cordarrelle Patterson for the time being, start that guy. Damien Williams, I told you guys, against the Raiders, and the Raiders, we're not even going to talk about it. Damien Williams, right, for Chicago. And Antonio Brown, I tried to tell you guys, if you had him and he was on your bench, I can't say I didn't tell you. I didn't warn you. He was going to go off. I knew it. He's Brady's favorite target besides Rob Gronkowski, right? He was spreading the love there towards the end. But Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski are Brady's two favorite targets. So if you have Antonio Brown, as long as Gronk is out, he is a must start. Then you had Dawson Knox for the tight ends. And everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? Yes, Dawson Knox. He's been around for a little bit. He's been around for a few years. Dawson Knox is now Josh Allen's new favorite target. Dawson Knox going off. Hunter Henry. I tried to tell you guys, Mac Jones is loving the tight ends more. He's going to find them more. That's going to be his security blanket this season. So Hunter Henry going off. Dalton Schultz, another one. Now, these last two, they did get above 10 points, and the reason why they're on, I think I deserve credit for getting them, was because they surpassed their prediction, right? If you surpass your projection, then I think that counts as a win. So we have Dalton Schultz and James Conner, who kind of struggled against the Niners, but still was able to get above that 10-point mark, still kind of solidify, you know, his start, get you some points, get you in there, and basically not be a kind of a dud for the day, for the week, right? In the sit-ems, we did really good, right? So the stardoms went 10 for 16. Not bad, right? Not bad. 10, I'll take that. 10 for 16, I'll take that. In the sit-ems, we went 13 for 16, right? So 13 of those guys, I told you to sit, performed exactly like I told you, is why to sit them. They didn't do anything this week. They did not do nada. So those 13 guys, sit them, and then get rid of them. 7 of those guys, get rid of them, right? 7 of those guys performed horribly. So that just proves to get them off your roster, right? Get them out of here. You don't even need them. You don't even waste your time with those guys. So not so bad. Not bad for another week, right? We're just getting better every single week. So let's talk about this week. Let's talk about this week. So, if you are new to start them, sit them, or get rid of them, or if you're new to the channel, new to the videos, let me just quickly explain how this works. So basically, what I have done for you is I have 3 categories: start them, sit them, and get rid of them, right? In each of those categories, besides get rid of them, I have 4 players for you: 4 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, and 4 tight ends. All of which you should either start, sit, or get rid of. Now, get rid of, I just see fit where I just fill in players in the respected categories if I feel like they need to get rid of. So there may not be 4, and this time I do not have 4 for you. I believe I have 1, 4, 6, and then I believe I have some tight ends for you. I have 8 get rid of them's for you this week. So the get rid of them's, you guys will see, are pretty much just kind of a touch and go. So it's just, if I feel like they need to be get rid of, we're going to add them down there, but there's not necessarily going to be 4 in each of those categories. Let's start with the stardom. We always start with the stardom, and we always start with the quarterbacks. Your number 4 quarterback this week is Kirk Cousins. He's having a bounce back week, right? I said against Cleveland he was going to have that bad week. He had his bad week. He's got over it, and now he's back on track. Kirk Cousins is having a great fantasy season. If you have him as a quarterback, I was wrong. I said he was a hard pass. He's having a great fantasy season. He normally starts slow, but now he's shaking the cobwebs. He's figured it out. So Kirk Cousins against that Carolina defense that, if you look, is becoming more and more injured. Their health is deteriorating of that team, right? They're losing a lot of starters. So I think Kirk Cousins is able to spread the love around and get the ball in the end zone. And again, repeat, score another a lot of fantasy points against that Carolina defense that is struggling. The next one up, number 3, is the man who got poked in the throat on Sunday, is Joe Burrow. Now, they took Joe to the hospital because of a throat contusion. Just say bruise. Okay, just say bruise. Contusion. Just say bruise. They thought he had a throat bruise, and it was just more for precautionary measures. He's fine. The doctor said he's fine. He left last night, so or on Sunday night. So Joe Burrow is fine. And against that Detroit defense, he's going to eat them up. Joe has thrown 2 or more touchdowns in every game this season, and Jamar Chase, his favorite target, now has 5 touchdowns. They're going to keep it going. Against Detroit, I would be very shocked if they do not keep it going against Detroit. So Joe Burrow, you're number 3. You're number 2, and is the guy that is picking it up. He was slowly dropping down, but like I said, it's going to take him a little bit of time, right? It's going to take him a little bit of time. It is the Trevor Lawerence of the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? The quarterback. I got Trevor Lawerence as your number 2, taking on the Miami Dolphins. He had a great game last week against Tennessee. It's Tennessee, and Tennessee owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? They own them, but they're getting better. They're getting better, which is nice to see. He's playing better. So against the Miami Dolphins, I think they complete the picture, and I think they get their first win this week against Miami. So I got Trevor Lawerence as your number 2, your number 1 quarterback, and as the man who I think is going to absolutely go off and just eat and feast. And this one's kind of like well, some people, he wasn't like a very well-picked quarterback. So some people might have this guy on their bench, is Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford against the New York Giants needs to be in your lineup as your quarterback because he is going to go to lunch. He is going to go to lunch against the New York Giants. Now, he is traveling to New York. He is traveling to MetLife, but he's been on the line, so this shouldn't really affect him, right? He's traveled to New York. He's traveled, to the East Coast before. It's not really that big a deal for him. So I think Matt Stafford absolutely lights it up against the New York Giants, the hurt New York Giants. So I think Matt Stafford is your number 1. Start him for your QBs. Moving on to your running backs. And this name's going to sound familiar, right? Because he was my number 4 last week. He's my number 4 this week. It's Damien Williams, right? David Montgomery is still out. David Montgomery is still out, and the Cincinnati Bengals were able to run all over the Green Bay Packers. So why not to think that the Chicago Bears can't do it? They did it against the Raiders, right? And it is the struggling Raiders now, I guess. But Damien Williams against the Green Bay Packers, I think, has another good fantasy season. I think he scores some rushing touchdowns. I think he gets his yards. So I definitely think he is warranted another start. Your number 3 running back is Antonio Gibson of the Washington Football Team, who has finally, and this, I guess he is a slow starter. So just make a note, if you get Antonio Gibson, he might be a slow starter because he was a slow starter last season, and then he just came and just took off running, right? So Antonio Gibson right now, I feel against that that shaky Kansas City defense, that super shaky Kansas City defense, I think Antonio Gibson is a stardom for sure against that defense. The next one up is the man who went bananas tonight, is Jonathan Taylor for the Colts, right? I think he's finally woken up. I think they finally found a way to get him involved in the game plan, right? They have all these backs. They have like 1,000 backs there in Indianapolis that they're trying to use. No, just use the guy that you drafted to be the main guy, right? Jonathan Taylor. He proved it tonight. That 76-yard run, he gassed the defenders. Like, gassed them. Just took off. They could not do anything they wanted. They could not do anything to stop him. They couldn't catch him. They couldn't dive to trip him. No, he gassed them. So, Jonathan Taylor, your running back number 2. And your running back number 1, and I got to apologize to him if he ever sees this, which I highly doubt, but he may, because I called him Darnell Henderson. It's Darrell Henderson, Darrell Henderson Jr. to be exact. Yes, from the Rams. Darrell Henderson is a solid running back, right? And the Rams need him. I think they proved that when he was injured. Sony Michel's whatever. He's he's not really worth it. He wasn't really worth it. I think the Patriots traded him for a washing machine or a dishwasher or something like that, I heard. So they couldn't wait to get rid of this guy. So Sony Michel is not the guy there. Darrell Henderson is the guy in LA. And LA Rams, for all those non-football people, right? I got to give you guys some knowledge. Darrell Henderson for the LA Rams. I think is going to have an absolutely solid game against the New York Giants. Moving on to the wide receivers, we got number 4. Thank you. I can't thank the heavens enough. We got Jamar Chase, right? The kid is on fire. Obviously, the number 1 leading candidate for Rookie of the Year, right? 5 touchdowns, 5 games. I don't even think of a rookie who's putting even close to performing as well as Jamar is, right? He's catching crazy balls from Joe. And the nice thing was Joey wasn't concerned at the beginning of the season. I was concerned, right? Some Bengals fans were concerned, but Joey wasn't. He was like, he'll catch the ball when the season comes. Boy, will he. Boy, will he. So Jamar Chase is your wide receiver number 4. If you aren't starting him, you shame on you. Just honestly, shame on you. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're wide receiver number 3, and I can't believe this. I can't believe this is happening. Right? Mark it down. Mark it down. What's today? What's today? We're at Monday, October 11th right now. Okay, Monday, October 11th right now. I am adding Deontay Johnson as your number 3 stardom receiver against the Seattle Seahawks. I know. I think it's hilarious too. But he's warranted it. He's warranted it. He's gotten touchdowns in the last 2 or 3 games. He's putting up fantasy points. The only one on that team putting up fantasy points. And he's taking on a Seahawk defense that is horrible, right? He's taking on a Seahawk defense that is horrible, right? So Deontay Johnson, your number 3 wide receiver. Your number 2, and the guy who's picking it up now is Robert Woods, right? A lot of Rams. That should tell you something. I think that the Rams are going to destroy the Giants. But Robert Woods, I think he absolutely goes off. I think he has another bonkers game, right? Cooper Kupp was having a kind of a slow game, but I think Robert Woods is able to get open against this team and get the fantasy points. Your number 1 is the guy that has been shocking everybody and just going off for his team. And it sucks because I picked the other guy, is Emmanuel Sanders, right? Emmanuel Sanders is a definite stardom, right? He's your number 1 stardom receiver right now. Emmanuel Sanders is on fire. He is the red zone option, right? Dawson Knox and Emmanuel Sanders are the 2 red zone options for Josh Allen right now. I don't know what happened to Stephon Diggs. I don't know what's going on with him. But these 2 guys, Emmanuel Sanders and Dawson Knox, are scoring a crap load of fantasy points right now. So get in while the getting's good, as they say. Emmanuel Sanders, your number 1 receiver. Moving on to the tight end. So your 4 tight ends, we have your number 1 was the guy who finally went off today, was Mark Andrews, who put on an absolute bonkers performance. And you know, it's good to see. Mark Andrews was considered by many to be one of the top tight ends, right? One of the top tight ends year in and year out. And he has having a super slow year in terms of fantasy this year. Super slow. So he went bananas tonight. Your number 3 tight end, and this one, you got to just bear with me, okay? If you need a tight end, you got to bear with me here, is Mo Alley-Cox of the Indianapolis Colts. I believe that now that offense is starting to roll, Carson's starting to get more weapons involved, and he's taking on the Houston Dumpster Fire Texans, who are pretty exciting, right? They give good games, but I think Mo Alley-Cox, former basketball player, right? Former VCU Ram. I think he goes off against the Houston Texans because Jack Doyle does nothing for that team. The next one up is Mike Gesicki, and he's been on this list before, but Mike Gesicki is a stardom against Jacksonville. Jacksonville defense is nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. It's just that once that offense gets going and once they complete the pieces, then maybe there'll be something to fear. But I think Mike Gesicki gets his points and gets his yards against that Jacksonville offense. And your last tight end is, no shocker here, Dawson Knox. I explained it to him, I guess, with Emmanuel Sanders. Dawson Knox is your #1 tight end right now. He's the hottest tight end in the NFL. He is rolling. Josh Allen's favorite target, Josh Allen's security blanket, the man he looks to first right now in the red zone, and then Emmanuel Sanders. So if you have Dawson Knox, the man is a stardom. And that's all I have for you on this week's Stardom. All right, moving on to the sit-ems. Okay, moving on to the sit-ems. We got now these four. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm testing my knowledge because I have an intuition that this is going to be a rough week for these guys. So let's start with the quarterbacks. As always, your #4 quarterback for the sit-ems this week is Baker Mayfield. Yes, Baker Mayfield is my #4 sit-em quarterback this week. He's taking on Arizona, and that Arizona defense is tough. They are playing teams tough right now. You are not scoring a lot of fantasy points against that Arizona defense. Besides Kirk, right, in that crazy game, not many quarterbacks are scoring a lot of points against this defense. So Baker Mayfield, I think this week is a sit-em. I would not start him. Would not do it. Your #3 quarterback this week is, and not many people are going to start him, but if you need somebody, if your quarterback's on bye, there are some byes this week, is Justin Fields. I would not start Justin Fields against Green Bay. He is not off to a good start, and it's because Matt Nagy doesn't know how to call plays for him, right? They're mainly handing off the ball. They're mainly running the ball, which is fine for Damien Williams in the stardom, right? But Justin Fields ain't getting any of the glory. So, and I don't think it starts against Green Bay. Their passing defense is a lot better than their rushing defense. So I think Green Bay takes it to him and is not a guy that you're going to want to start this week. Your #2 quarterback, and it's just the team that can't catch a break. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. The team that just can't catch a break. And your #2 sit-em is Derek Carr. I had him on it last week. He proved me right. I think he's going to prove me right again against Denver. If you're following the saga of the Raiders, this is crazy. This is crazy. And, you know, at first I was upset. I was angry at the news. And then as you read into it, as you look into it, the man did it to himself. The man dug his own grave. Now he has to lie in it. It is what it is. It is what it is. And, you know, we're going to see a very new Las Vegas Raider team next season. I guarantee it. But Derek Carr is on the sit-ems this week. Your #1 sit-em. Sorry, your #1 sit-em is Jalen Hurts. Yes. And now, experts are saying that, you know, this could be a good week for him. This could be. I'm going to go the other way. I think Tampa Bay's defense on Thursday on the short week actually benefits Tampa Bay's defense over the Philadelphia offense. That was a tough game against the Panthers. It was a tough, a lot of energy, a lot of emotions, a lot of everything in that game, right? Then now you have to turn around, get ready for Tom Brady. Tom, who's on fire, and that Tampa Bay, whose defense is not the greatest, right? They're not mowing down teams, but I think against the Philadelphia Eagles, I think on Thursday night, I think they make Jalen Hurts' day very, very rough. So Jalen Hurts, who's been absolutely one of the top quarterbacks this season, no doubt about it. Jalen Hurts has been one of the top quarterbacks this season. I think they make him hurt. No pun intended. So Jalen Hurts is your #1 sit-em. You're moving on to your running backs. Your #4 running back is Alex Collins against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, Chris Carson may be back. He may not, which means Alex Collins would obviously fill in again for that starting back role if Chris Carson's out, or if even Chris Carson comes back, he may not be 100%, so they may see Alex Collins. I don't like it against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming off that emotional win last week. They're at home again. I don't know. I feel like Pittsburgh's all their games are at home right now. But they're coming off that emotional win. That crowd's going to be in it again. That defense looks like it's starting to pick up again. So I don't like this matchup. I think Alex Collins is a sit-em this week against Pittsburgh. Your #3 running back is Chase Edmonds. I know that I think Baker's going to struggle against that Arizona defense. I think Chase Edmonds is going to struggle against that Cleveland defense that is definitely going to look to want to rebound, right? They are definitely going to want to look to rebound and, you know, punch somebody in the mouth, right? It wouldn't be surprising to me if we saw Arizona lose. Would not be surprising to me at all. Do I think Baker's still going to have a good fantasy game? No, of course. I stand by what I say. But I wouldn't be surprising to me if Arizona did lose this week. Would not be surprising. However, Chase Edmonds, I think, is not going to have that great a game. I think that defense will shut down that running game. I would be very weary of the running game in Arizona this week. I think it's going to be much more of a passing game because some of the cornerbacks are injured with the Browns. So be on the lookout. But Chase Edmonds, your number 3 running back, sit him. Your number 2 running back, sit him, is Devin Singletary. Yes, the man that has not been able to get anything going this season. And Zach Moss seems to be outworking him, outrushing him, outscoring him. So Devin Singletary against the Tennessee Titans, who are hurting. But I think Zach Moss is the beneficiary of this game. So Devin Singletary on the sit-ems. And the last guy, a lot of stretches this week, just because there's some buys, right? If there weren't the buys, it'd be a little bit easier to let you guys know who to sit him. So I had to take some stretches this week. And one of these stretches is Aaron Jones. I know. Oh, yes, Aaron Jones has had some bad games this season. He has not had some good games this season. So Aaron Jones is my number 1 sit-em for the running backs. I think that Chicago Bear defense, I think they get to him. I think they slow down that running game, and I think it's forced to have Brady pass the ball. And it looks like now on the passing downs, it looks like A.J. Dillon's getting most of the looks. So I think the Cincinnati Bengals were able to stop him, not able to get him going, not able to get him to his projection for the week. And I think the Chicago Bears do the same thing. I think the Chicago Bears stop Aaron Jones from exploding and doing what Aaron Jones does best, which is score a lot of fantasy points. You're moving on to your wide receivers. Your number 4 wide receiver is DK Metcalf at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, and this is for someone who's going to appear in the injury report, Russell Wilson, who is out. Yes, so now you have Geno Smith. I know we saw Geno Smith have some heroics against the Rams. Couldn't complete it, though. But I don't think he's going to have any heroics in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. I don't think any heroics are coming. I think a blatant blowout is coming. It's coming. So DK Metcalf, your number 4 sit-em wide receiver. Your number 3 sit-em wide receiver is A.J. Brown. The man can't get healthy. Ryan Tannehill looks like a shell, an old shell of himself. Doesn't look anything near like he did last year or the first year he was with Tennessee. And he doesn't look good. And therefore, A.J. Brown can't look good either, right? He had some flashes in the last game, but his injuries, Ryan Tannehill not playing good, the fact that they're playing Buffalo, A.J. Brown 100% is a sit-em this week. I would be shocked if he went off. Be shocked. Your number 2 is Odell Beckham Jr. Only because it's pretty much the same thing for A.J. Brown, right? Baker Mayfield is not having a good season passing. Not having a good season passing. The chemistry between him and Odell is not there, and it's not looking good. It is not looking good, right? So Odell, if Baker can't get going, Odell can't get going. So Odell, sit him against the Arizona Cardinals. And your number 1 is Marvin Jones Jr. I thought he would be Trevor Lawrence's security blanket. I guess not. My guy, Laviska Shenault Jr. is definitely going off and being the security blanket for Trevor Lawrence right now. So Marvin Jones is not doing anything, and he hasn't done anything all season long. So boom, plop him on the bench as a sit-em. Moving on to the tight ends. Your number 4 tight end is Evan Ingram. Yes, Evan Ingram is your number 4 tight end just because Danny Dimes has a concussion. You'll see him on the injury report as well. Danny Dimes has a concussion, so who knows? Who knows who's going to... Well, Mike Glennon will be the quarterback, but who knows how he's going to do? He looked decent. He looked decent against Dallas. I mean, Dallas pulled away with that game, but Evan Ingram, with the shakiness and the other options out there for tight end, I would plop him on the bench as a sit-em. Your number 3 tight end is, and the man who I've wanted to put him on here pretty much every single week, is Austin Hooper. Yes, another Brown, Austin Hooper. It looks like David Njoku is now that he's finally healthy again, is back to being the lead tight end that he was before he got injured last season. So David Njoku looks to be the top dog in Cleveland. Austin Hooper, Kick to the can, baby. Kick to the curb. So Austin Hooper definitely is a sit-him. He's not doing anything right now. Number 2 is Noah Fant. Denver looks fake as holy moly, Denver looks fake as I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how bad they look. I mean, they are exposed. They have been exposed. I mean, those 3 games, yes, they should have won them. Those next 2 games, wow, now you just look like a mediocre team. So Teddy B's got to pull it together. He's not looking good. He's looking okay. He pulled the comeback last week. But Noah Fant is not getting the looks that he got last year. Noah Fant, he's not getting the looks that he got last year. So Noah Fant is your number 2. Your number 1 is Dallas Goedert against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just have a feeling that Jalen Hurts is not going to have a good game, which means Dallas Goedert is not going to have a good game. And he is rostered in a lot of leagues, and a lot of people count on him to be their tight end. So I think this week is time to look and find somebody else just for this week. Doesn't have to be permanently, right? But just for this week, these are the guys that I think need to sit on the bench. And that is all I have for you in the sit-ems. And lastly, we have the get rid of them. Right? They get him out of here, right? Get lost, take a hike, hit a brick, right? Find somebody else, find somewhere else to go, right? Find someone else's team to ruin, right? So for the get rid of them, I only have 8 of them for you today, but let's get into this. With the quarterbacks, we only have 1, and that is Mr. Ryan Tannehill. I can't say it enough. The man looks like a ghost of himself. He doesn't look anything near the Ryan Tannehill that we saw last year or the year prior, right? So Ryan Tannehill, unless he makes a drastic change, unless Julio and AJ become magically healthy, Derrick Henry's going to be the only one scoring points there in Tennessee this season. So Ryan Tannehill, get rid of him. For your running backs, I have Carlos Hyde as your number 3. Get rid of him. Carlos Hyde is not doing anything this season, and he's pissed off that he's not getting any touches. It's because James Robinson is better, you fool. James Robinson is just better. So Carlos Hyde, if you have him, he's not rostered in a lot of leagues, but if you have him, just drop him. Have an open roster spot. You'll be okay without him on your team, right? So, yeah, Carlos Hyde, your number 3. Your number 2, and one of the mans I thought was going to be way more effective this season is Kenyon Drake, right? Kenyon Drake from the Las Vegas Raiders I thought was going to be way better than he's actually doing. So Kenyon Drake, if you got him, and I don't know why you still do, he's actually rostered in a significant amount of leagues, right? Get rid of him. He is not doing anything. Kenyon Drake, your number 2. Your number 1 is Miles Sanders of the Philadelphia Eagles. The man is not doing anything in terms of warranting a start, warranting a roster spot. Get him off your team. He's rostered in way too many leagues. Get him off your team. Miles Sanders not doing a damn thing this year. Not doing a damn thing. Miles Sanders, your number 1, get rid of him. Get him off your team. You're moving on to your wide receivers. Right, I have 2 wide receivers for you. Number 2 is Nelson Aguilar of the New England Patriots. The man left the Las Vegas Raiders, who were going to give him the money that he wanted to go to the New England Patriots and do essentially nothing. He has done nothing. He's done what he's done his entire career, which is nothing. So Nelson Aguilar, get him off your team. He's rostered in too many leagues. Get him off your team if you got him. Your number 1, get rid of him. And this one kind of hurts me because I expected a lot. And the chemistry just doesn't seem there. He doesn't seem like he just really does anything. He's basically a body on the field. Is Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson doesn't look like he's doing anything this season in terms of fantasy, right? He may do some small stuff here and there on the field for the team, but fantasy-wise, not doing a damn thing. And I can't believe that he's not doing a damn thing. I really can't. I cannot believe it. So Robbie Anderson, get him off your team. You don't need him. Your tight ends, the 2 tight ends I have for you. Number 2 is Robert Tonyan. Yes, Robert Tonyan, who had 1 good game this entire season, 1 good game, is not warranted a start, not warranted a roster spot. Get him off your team. Your number 1 tight end is Jared Cook, the man who I thought was going to just absolutely dominate. But no, he lets the man from the XFL, Donald Parham, right? Parham, just come in and absolutely dominate his spot and just be the main guy that Herbie looks to when it comes to tight ends. So Jared Cook not doing anything to warrant any sort of roster spot, any sort of start. Get him off your team. All of these guys, all 8 of these guys, get them off your rosters. Either have open roster spots or just find better players, because they're out there. I can tell you this right now. They are out there. You can definitely find players scoring more points than these freaking goobers. So that is all I have for you on this week's edition of Start 'em, Sit 'em, or Get Rid of 'em. Alrighty, and the last thing that we got to talk about is, you guys know, all the injuries. Injuries are piling up week in and week out. I'm here to let you guys know the latest, the news, what's happening, and then what to do with your lineups. So let's get into it in another edition of the Injury Report. Alrighty, so on this week's edition of the Injury Report, I have for you 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 players. Whew. It's just stacking up. It's just stacking up. So let's get into this. Starting us off, our first injury is Max Williams, which if you saw the injury, it did not look good. Max Williams, tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. They fear that he has suffered a season-ending knee injury. So it's not confirmed. It's not out there yet, but they have feared that the knee injury that he suffered on Sunday against the 49ers is going to be season-ending, which is unfortunate because he was having a good season. He was finally having, a decent season. He's been in the league forever, and I thought when he came in, I thought he was going to be one of those top tight ends, but he went to the Ravens, who never used tight ends. So he was finally on a team that was utilizing him. So it's upsetting to see because I like Max Williams. He's a good player, tough tight end. So Max Williams, it looks like he may be done for the season with the knee injury. Our next guy up is, and the man, everyone if you've kept up to date with the latest episodes, if you watch all the episodes, I'm not really a fan of this guy, but never, ever, ever do I want an injury to happen to anybody. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going to be out a few weeks. MCL sprain, right? Suffered Sunday night against Buffalo. Sprained his knee. Good thing it's not torn. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's not torn. It's just sprained. So he will be out a few weeks. He's going to be out a few weeks. So if you have a running back, or if you have him as your running back, you need to look at other options. He will not be available. Next up, we have Taysom Hill. And if you have this guy, or if you're starting this guy, I don't know why, but we got to add him on there. He's a fantasy player, right? He can get points for you. So Taysom Hill suffered a concussion, right? And will be reevaluated during the bye week. Luckily, it is the bye week for the Saints this week, so he'll be reevaluated later this week. Chances are we'll see him out there next Sunday. But right now, if you have him, and I don't know why you do, Taysom Hill suffered a concussion, out for right now. The next guy up, and if you saw this graphic on Sunday, this thing was crazy. It looked like he had a softball in his leg, right? I'm talking about Saquon Barkley and his softball-sized ankle. Saquon Barkley suffered a sprained ankle, and he's going to be out a while, right? They say he's going to be out a couple of weeks. I think he's going to be out a little bit longer than that. And man, this kid cannot catch a break. And honestly, it's because of the New York Giants. I hate to say it, but the New York Giants franchise is killing this kid's career. Absolutely murdering it. Like stabbing it, and stabbing it some more. So Saquon Barkley, I hope he can either get healthy for this team, or I hope he just leaves and finds another team where he can just get healthy and just play, because he is a truly phenomenal running back. The next guy up is Daniel Jones, who, if you saw that, he got absolutely smacked. He got absolutely smacked trying to run the ball so into the touchdown. So Daniel Jones suffered a concussion, will be reevaluated later this week. Chances are he's not going to play on Sunday. So Mike Glennon will be in there, most likely. But Daniel Jones suffered a concussion, considered day-to-day, will be reevaluated later this week. Next up, is it the entire offense? Seriously, Kenny Golladay is now out. Kenny Golladay, right, is now, he has a hyperextended knee. and he's going to be out. He's considered day-to-day. So he suffered an injury on Sunday as well. Not really a big blow to the team since he's done absolutely nothing, right? Their high-valued acquisition in the offseason is doing absolutely nothing for the team. So Kenny Golladay, hyperextended knee, considered day-to-day. The next guy, and again, I hate the team, hate him with every fiber of my being, don't like him either, but I will never, never, never wish any injury upon a person. Juju Smith-Schuster dislocated his shoulder, and it did not look good, and you can see the emotion on his face, him going over to the sideline. So dislocated his shoulder, will require surgery, and is going to be out for 4 months. His season is done. His season is done. So Juju Smith-Schuster, if you got him, just drop him. Don't even put him on IR. Don't even waste a spot. Juju Smith-Schuster is done for the season. These next guys kind of silently got moved. Well, one guy didn't, but the other guys silently got moved to the injury reserve list during the week, right before even Sunday happened. That one of those guys is George Kittle of the Niners, right? George Kittle got moved to the injury reserve list, I think on Friday or Saturday. So he is on the injury reserve list with a calf injury. He will be gone for 3 weeks, and we shall see what happens in the next 3 weeks. The Niners need him, so we'll see what happens. The Niners are going to struggle. Niners are definitely going to struggle. The next guy up is their kicker, right? Robbie Gould has a groin injury. He was added to the IR. So, and I think that he was added last week, but I may have missed him. So I just want to make sure I cover all my bases. So if you have Robbie Gould, he's now on IR, so he's gone for 3 weeks. So you need a kicker if you got Robbie Gould. So make sure you are looking for a kicker if you have Robbie Gould. The next guy up is Curtis Samuel, right? He re-aggravated his groin injury for Washington, which is upsetting to see. He just came back like 2 weeks ago, I think. Last week or 2 weeks ago was his first game. So he just came back, re-aggravated that groin injury that was basically keeping him out the entire offseason and the start of the season. He's now considered week to week. They don't want to put him on IR, but now he's considered week to week. So if you have Curtis Samuel, which I don't think anybody does, just drop him. I wouldn't really worry about him. I don't think he's going to do much this season. The next guy up, and this one is the biggest blow of the injury report, is Russell Wilson. Yes, everyone saw that Thursday night game. Everyone saw that finger. That finger was nasty. He just couldn't do anything with it. Could not do anything with that finger. So he fractured that right middle finger. He is, best case scenario, I have down in my notes, best case scenario, out for 4 weeks. That is what I'm reading. That is what I'm looking up when I look up the injury. Best case scenario, Russ is out 4 weeks. So if you have Russ as your quarterback, you need to be making alternate plans. Whether it be picking up somebody, making a trade, or just starting your backup, make sure you have alternate plans for Russ being out. The last two guys are just COVID guys. We can show them together. It is Samaje Perine, who had a great game against Green Bay on Sunday. Semi-filling in for Joe Mixon. They were doing kind of a running back by committee type thing, even with Joe Mixon being back. But Samaje Perine on the COVID-19 list. And the last guy, Gerald Everett, finally got his name right. Gerald Everett on the COVID-19 list, still for Seattle, so we don't know if he'll be able to go Sunday. He is a tight end. He is somewhat of a used tight end, so if you have him, just be aware. Be aware he may come off that COVID list on Sunday. And that is all the injuries I have for you in this week's injury report. Alrighty, and that will do it for today's episode of Fantasy Time. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching today's episode, because I am having a blast bringing you guys the content. I'm having a blast just putting together this content for you guys. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you do, if you like it, if you are enjoying what you are seeing, if you are enjoying my hard work, please smash that like button, tap on that subscribe button, and then just tap on that bell notification. That way, anytime a new video drops, and they drop every Tuesday and Friday, you're right there. You're right there to consume the content, right? Because I'm always dropping the knowledge. It's right there for you to just pick up, shove it in that brain of yours, shake it around, and boom, better fantasy player, better knowledgeable football human being, because that is our two aims here at Fantasy Time, to do those two things, right? To make you better in those aspects. So if you like what you see, please smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and just tap on that bell notification. That way, anytime a new video drops, you always stay up to date, because if you're not growing, you are dying, right? So again, if you like what you see, smash all three of those things. If you want to get involved more with Fantasy Time, you can follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Time 2021. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fantasy Guy 2021. And then you can follow us on YouTube at Fantasy Time 2021. All 3 ways you can interact with us, or interact with myself, interact with Brandon, interact with us in general. All right, leave a comment on the video, right? Tell us what you think. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Don't hesitate to ask, right? If you're struggling, I know some of you are, don't hesitate to ask, right? I'm struggling in some of my leagues too. I'm not afraid to ask. So if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask, right? Because at the end of the day, I can give you all the analysis, I can give you all my thoughts, I can give you all my predictions, my expectations, but ultimately it's up to these guys to lace them up, suit up, take the field, and get the job done. But that doesn't mean I'll never, ever lead you astray. I'll never give you bad advice, right? I'll always do my best to really look at the question and give you guys the best educated advice that I can provide for you. Because that's what I aim to do, right? That is what we're doing here at Fantasy Time. And who knows? We may dabble in basketball. Basketball's coming, right? Basketball is coming. Just dropping that little hint, dropping that little nugget for people just to kind of get that little seed, just to leave it in their brain, right? Basketball is coming, so we may dabble in basketball. And guess what? I got basketball jerseys too. So you are definitely going to want to stay tuned for all the content that I'm going to bring you, because that is what I enjoy doing, is just bringing you guys this content. So again, if you like this video, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, tap on that bell notification, follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Time 2021, follow us on Facebook at The Fantasy Guy 2021, and then follow us on YouTube at Fantasy Time 2021. You guys know what it is. This has been Fantasy Time. I am your host, Jacob Cutler, the Fantasy Guy. And until next time, Jacob Cutler is out. You're still here? What are you still doing here? It's over. The show is over. The show is over. Go check out some other videos on the channel. Go. Well, I guess while you're here, make sure you like, follow, subscribe. But go. The show's over. The show's over.